and welcome to TNC Talks Nonprofit. I'm Scott.
I'm Mercedes.
And before Mercedes introduces our guest today, I do want to thank our sponsor, Methodist Healthcare Ministries, for their support of TNC Talks Nonprofits this year. We thank you very much. And with that, let's get started.
Yes, on today's episode, we have Corey McRae with Alamo City Arts. Welcome.
Thank you all for having me.
Of course, we're can't wait to dig into your story. So, this podcast is really about unveiling how you got into your leadership role at Alamo City Arts. But before we dig into your story and how you got there, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your organization does?
Sure. Alamo City Arts, our mission is just to perpetuate the arts in Bexar County. And we started out as a small dance company. And throughout the years, we've merged, had a certain organization merge with us. We had a symphony merge with us, a concert band, big band. Then we've added on a dance studio, Mariachi Academy, a ballet folklorical company, a theater company, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something. There's 8 facets.
Wow. And over how long of a period of time did you add all these
So
facets?
I joined as a board member in 2016, and then around 2019 is when I started to talk with other organizations about adding on, because it makes more sense when you can present a production with your own colleagues, in it, and you've worked together.
Right.
It's such a better experience. And so the very first one was I wanted to have a live orchestra with our symphony, or with our ballet company.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a natural fit.
it was a natural fit. And so Nutcracker was coming up, and I started looking around, and we found this organization that started, I believe, in 2017, and this was 2019. And I said, why don't you come and perform with us? And we were paying them per service for it. And after I kind of took a look at everything, I was like, they need some help. The business side of things was a little in a disarray.
This might be an assumption on my part, but I would think that there's a lot of arts organizations that are small and maybe aren't financially stable. And so that I can see why you would want to, if you were a strong organization or you see this, want to be an umbrella, how you would add these pieces. So that's just kind of how it started.
Yeah, it pretty much says that's the way it started. I'm not from an arts background at all. It's
well, I can't wait to know what your background is then.
And so when I look at everything, I look at it as a business decision, and I have much more qualified people who look at the artistic side. And I just kind of look at the other aspect, and that's kind of how
that's what's driven the boat.
Yeah, driven the boat from here.
Do y'all have a physical space, or
Yes, we do.
You do?
So when we first started out, we were in a well, that's good. That's kind of a big story. When we first started out,
Well, let's just dig into it.
we were in a residence at the San Antonio Performing Arts Academy, at SASPA, and the organization was born out of that. So a lot of for-profits will create these nonprofits to do their productions in.
Oh.
And during that time span, we kind of worked through it. And whenever I came on the board in 2016, I came on the same time as Katie, our artistic director. She came on as a treasurer elect, and I came on as president elect. And we were both kind of looking at everything. And, they came to the first board member meeting, and the financials was on a sticky note.
Oh my.
And both Katie and I both looked at each other like, we got a lot of work to do.
Well, what goes back to my assumption. Wasn't far off.
And so, but anyway, from there,
you didn't run away.
We didn't run away. I was, I rolled up the sleeves, and we got to work on it. But in 2009, or excuse me, when 2020 came, COVID hit.
Yeah.
SASPA didn't quite make it out of there. And so we were vagabonds, if you will, for a while, renting space from here and there. And unfortunately, there was another organization, the Metropolitan Ballet. They didn't make it out either.
I remember
that. We talked to them, and we took over the lease there. And since then, we took their space, and we now just signed a contract earlier this year on the space across from this. And so we were expanding it from 3 studios to 4 studios.
Oh, wow.
And
you don't do your financials on your sticky notes anymore?
We don't. We don't. We're big boys now.
Oh, wow. Well, that's amazing. So are all the properties close to each other? Or
They are. It's right. I will be knocking a hole between the 2 buildings probably next week or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Wow.
So it's contingent. So it makes it very easy.
Very
Did
cool.
y'all have to do
easier?
Were you doing a capital campaign to do this, or you just had the?
So we did a small capital campaign.
Yeah.
Most of it was through earned income that we've had, and we won't have it completely finished out like we want, so we'll continue
in
on
time.
In time, one of the things is when we added the Mariachi Academy, we wanted to have that space over there more for the music side of things.
Okay.
And so, I'll have to do some soundproofing and a lot of stuff like that. So there's more to come, but it'll be functional here in the next couple of weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so if you don't have I also made a bad assumption that you had an arts background because of all the different pieces of Alamo City Arts. So and I'm sure you probably didn't wake up one day when you were a teenager and say, well, I want to run a nonprofit when I grow up. That's kind of the impetus of the show, because we all want to know how did we get into these roles and leading nonprofits, because it's not something most people are aware of. So tell us about your background growing up. And
Sure. I grew up in South Texas, middle of nowhere, close by the border, a town called Carrizo Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
We were in the oilfield, and my dad had a dirt contracting business, and about the age of 8, I started going to work with him. And so I was basically building locations for drilling rigs by the age of 12 by myself.
Wow.
So I dabbled a little bit in the arts. I had an injury in high school where I couldn't play football anymore because I had surgery on my knee. I couldn't go back. But during that time of my rest, the prose and poetry coach came to me and said, would we really think that you do good at this, and would you come? So I did it, and won some awards and whatnot. And then the theater,
Like writing poetry?
no, it's prose.
Performing.
So you perform.
Okay.
And then somebody dropped out of one of the plays that was going to competition, and the drama coach came to me and said, hey, we'd really like you to join in. And I was like, I don't know. I said, it convinced me. And so we did. And afterwards, he's like, wow, you're really good at this. We weren't going to do anything. And so he put me in the lead role at Scapino.
Oh my God.
Won a scholarship for it. I didn't go into drama or anything, but it was just kind of open scholarship. Never looked back on it. I didn't do anything, artsy after that, and went to college for a bit. Found that was not my space, and my brother and I, we started a business in oilfield, oil and gas. We had drilling rigs, workover rigs, lease crews, productions, vacuum trucks. So we would do turnkey productions in the oilfield.
Wow.
And then once that the booms kind of died down on that, we ended up selling it to Dye Energy. I was kind of wondering what I was going to do next. And
how old were you at that point?
I was, I want to say I was 29.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
And at that point, I opened up a millwork company, and then we went into this. If you kind of look at the back, in the oilfield, we kind of did everything that we could to produce a well.
Right.
All the different factors of that. And then so when I went into this, I was like, well, there's people building houses and all this, I have the millwork side of things. Well, let's do a construction portion of it. And so that's when we did that. And
still with your brother?
Yeah. And once we finished there, we ended up, I sold my interest out. I was thinking, well, what am I going to do next? My wife, now ex-wife, came home one day and says, congratulations, you're the president-elect at Alamo City Arts.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And so that's kind of how I made the transition to there.
Wow.
Was she involved with the organization?
My daughter at the time was dancing
Okay.
there. And so, like I said, we were just a really small ballet company at that time, dance company. And so, it just, I kind of took the models that I've had in the past and kind of put it towards this. And I just think whatever you have, I don't want to sound like a control freak, but whatever you have more control over any production you have, you can control the outcome of what you're doing. You're not having to wait on this component or that component to do it.
Interesting.
That is so interesting. So how many staff do you, do you contract out with the performers, artists?
So we have, it's myself and Katie's our artistic director. We have 2 other staff members, and then we have about 15 instructors, and they're, per service. And then everything else is pretty much per service, except for our directors, which, they get a small stipend for.
I'm like, I know when I was talking to you recently at a meeting or somewhere at a mixer, I think it may have been over the holidays or maybe going into summer, how many performances? Like, tell us a little bit about your schedule. It's like, there's a lot.
Yes, there is. This weekend, we also help with Fiesta Noche del Rio. Most of the dancers there, Katie's the director of that. Most of the dancers are our dancers. And so we opened that this weekend. On top of, we had our season finale of the symphony. So, but in total, we do anywhere from like 35 to 40 performances in a year.
Wow.
It keeps you busy.
And are like Fiesta Noche, do they contract with y'all? So some of your performances are paid by a third party.
Yes.
So it's not
all of them are
not all,
produced.
but
So we do the entertainment for the Ford Holiday River Parade on stage there. The holidays on Houston Street that you see down there, we do all of the musical performances on Holiday in Houston Street. When IPW came into town, we did some stuff for that. The NCAA. Just
they hire for performances,
all sorts of different opportunities.
So that's the an earned income part of the business,
correct?
Which is interesting because as a businessman, you've bought and sold businesses. That's where that piece comes in looking at other organizations over the years. Say the back office isn't strong, and hence the merger.
Right. It's, and some of them, have decent, but, they understood, merger would give them a little bit of
stronger together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that in the sector right now. I don't want to date this podcast, but I think, in light of all the funding cuts at the federal level, state, local, and then even local funders, there's a lot of talking about mergers and acquisitions. What are your thoughts on that? How many entities have you guys absorbed?
So Symphony Viva, Heart of Texas Concert Band, Memory Lane Dance Band, which was kind of a sister arm of the Heart of Texas Concert Band. Those are the ones that merged with us. Everything else has been born out of necessity or need.
Oh, I see. Okay, but that's still like you've acquired 3 or 4 other nonprofits,
right?
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about how does that work out? I'm curious about this process as far as the 2 different boards seeing eye to eye. Tell us a little bit.
It's messy. It's very messy, but it gets heated. It gets contentious at times. But as long as you go in there with a strong mindset of what your end goals is, I think it works. Some you have to be a little more laid back with. Let everything kind of lie, and you do small changes as you go along. Others you have to do more immediate because it's a little bit more out of control. So you really have to look at it individually,
right,
as it is. That's the biggest key to it. You have to look at each one differently.
And do they usually come to you, or is it that you hear through the grapevine maybe someone's not doing so well, or how does that kind of play out?
So the one with the symphony, I went to them because it just
The
made
writing was on the
sense.
wall.
Yeah.
Sense right there. The background story on them is that they were a bunch of musicians who got together to do a benefit fundraiser for the Pulse nightclub shooting. And so, they enjoyed what they were doing. So all these musicians got together, started doing concerts. They were doing great work, and it just, for me, it just made a lot more sense because at that time there wasn't a lot of organizations that had multidisciplinary productions.
Right.
And so that was the next step for us to do it. And I approached them on that.
And they were open-minded about it.
They, for the most part, yes. I mean, it was kind of rocky at first. Their conductor ended up resigning, and just, a few of their board members were not too happy.
Yeah.
But we had the votes, and that's, we move forward with it. I think we've done pretty good so far. So
yeah, we might need to have you. We're talking about doing a mergers and acquisitions type, some programming around that. So we might be tapping into you since you've done it a couple of times. I just find that so interesting. I think of all it must be hard to get, board members and egos in the room. And if you two leaders of organizations trying to figure out how to navigate all that, it just seems really interesting to me.
a Heart of Texas concert band, they came to us.
Okay.
And so it was kind of
was that
different.
Recently?
In 21 is whenever I signed it, in December.
Because I remember them through Big Give, and I didn't realize that y'all had come together.
Yes. We were, for a few years, we had them under their own EIN number. Now, they're now fully under us. So that's one where we just took a little more time to acclimate everything. I think the biggest thing with a merger is the cultural differences. And you have to be very cognizant, if they're an older organization, to respect those traditions.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at it in a way that, okay, does this make sense still? How do we do this that's still respectful to them?
Right.
But if it needs to be more efficient, then you have to change it.
And how does it fit into your model?
Exactly.
You don't want a forced program.
Right. And during a merger, you don't, especially for-profit's different. With the merger. But in a nonprofit, you don't want to force the issue in a way that you're going to lose what their identity is, what the, whoever it is, who is helping you within that organization. Because if if you have a merger and all of the staff and all of the artists leave, all you have is a name at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And a black mark on you because, it didn't work.
So when you took on the organization, how much has it grown since?
Since our sticky note days?
Yeah. Since back then.
Wow.
I mean,
that's a new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Even I was just on spreadsheets.
I know.
But it wasn't sticky notes.
I entered
it was
spreadsheet hell when I
You
started
might have had a
working.
sticky note to put it on the spreadsheet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the accounting. It was just the membership.
No, the accounting was in good order. Don't worry, everybody.
I would say we probably 10 times the size.
10?
Yes.
I'm just curious, sorry, I keep asking questions, but are the donors and stakeholders generally supportive when it comes out?
For the most part, yes. Of course, you're going to have, people who are, this is not my same organization. This is not the same thing. This isn't what I want to make. And you have to be very cognizant of that. When you're talking with them, you said, well, if you want your money to go specifically to this program, we are more than happy to oblige you with that.
Okay, that's an easy way to kind of.
That's an easy way to. But still, you're going to have people who are just not happy with. People hate change.
Oh yes, 100%.
It makes people afraid, and you just have to be reassuring, during that change that, it's okay. Change is okay.
Right.
If we didn't change, we couldn't grow.
Well, I think too, now you have some, you've done this a few times. So it's not like a brand new idea or, you have a little bit more credibility, I would imagine. Have there ever been times where someone's come to you and it didn't work out?
Not as yet. So I hope that that's not the case. I mean, of course, we've had parting of founding directors, or
I imagine that would be a really hard situation.
It is. Those you have to handle with a lot of care,
right?
Because that's
their baby.
That's their baby. And hopefully you can do it in a way that's respectful, and and then sometimes you have to do it because it's a necessity, because sometimes there's toxicity there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how do boards? I mean, obviously you don't just bring all the boards onto the board. So how does it blend?
What I have done is we have advisory boards. And so each branch has an advisory board, and then we have an executive board. And that still gives them a feeling of involvement, decision making. Yep. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, that you're responsible for the whole organization.
How many meetings do you have?
Sometimes I don't make them all. So it's just, it's, I have to trust that, the people in there, and I get reports back, right. But sometimes you just can't make all the meetings.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm missing one right now.
Yeah. Thank God.
You're like, that works for my schedule.
My daughter used to have a saying whenever she was dancing, and we would have board meetings. She says, "Oh, another board meeting."
Oh, that's why I didn't bring my 12-year-old today. I was like, you might find it interesting. She was like, I don't think I will. I was like, okay, fine. You can stay home then. Oh, wow. So how old is your daughter now?
I have one that is 13. I have one that is 18. And I have another daughter that's 31.
Oh, geez. I'm asking.
Are any of them in the arts arena?
So my 13-year-old, she used to dance, but she decided that is not what she wants to do. So she's now in musical theater. She also plays a flute in her band there at middle school.
Okay.
My 18-year-old daughter, she decided she was going to take a sabbatical from dancing. She had hip surgery, and so that kind of scared her away from that.
Yeah.
She's now back into it, and she's helping there at the office too, teaching classes and whatnot. So she's back into it. My other daughter, she'll sometimes come in and
well, she's a grown up now.
Yeah, she'll do Nutcracker every once in a while, and do one of the mothers on that. So it's a little bit of a family business, I guess you will.
Do you miss like the traditional business world?
Yeah, at times I do. It's because it's the same mindset, but yet different. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's
funding models are a lot different.
Yes and no, because at first I was really struggling with, how do I go to somebody and ask for money, and they're not getting a return on this at all. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
and so I was like, wait a minute, they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
They are putting their money towards a future,
right?
About a culture. It's about the arts. And so once I kind of wrapped my mind around that, it wasn't so, because it was very hard at me at the very first. It's kind of like, what? Yeah.
Well, especially when you didn't really have a background nonprofit
right.
at all. It is a totally different mindset.
Whenever we had a business deal, though I was going, so like if we were selling interest in an oil well,
there's a clear-cut path.
There's a clear-cut path. This is what you invest with this is what you get back. Others like, oh, I can give you a few tickets. You can come to this event, but it just didn't make sense at first. But you have to look at it as a higher function of how you keep the society together and how are you making everything push forward.
And plus, it's nice for many arts organizations to have that model of earned income, whether it's ticket sales, being commissioned out to do performances, so you have different funding streams.
Right.
And do y'all partner with any other, like troupe like partner with any other arts nonprofits?
So actually, our last concert was with the San Antonio Choral Society. They were celebrating, that was their season closer also. They celebrated their 60th anniversary.
Wow.
So that's always a great, event to do. We also do another event called Viva Mariachi, where we partner with Campanas de America.
Mm-hmm.
And we bring in our ballet folklorical, and we do our symphony with them, and that's a really great event too. They
I
are
like
a
how you say
nonprofit.
mariachi.
Yeah, it's
very South Texas.
Yeah, it is very much
mariachi.
So. Yeah,
my daughter's in mariachi, so.
The River City Ringers.
Is it tough to keep track of all these different arms? And I mean, is there plans for expansion? But also, how do you just manage all these different moving parts? It just seems like it's
I'm incredibly blessed with the people that I have helping me.
Mm-hmm.
I have great office staff that helps me. Katie's phenomenal.
She is.
Just helping with everything. And then our individual directors. Joseph Kinnear is the director for the symphony. Mark Rogers for the concert band. We'll take another 30 minutes. The directors. But the great thing about it is they can focus on the artistic side of things.
And you're like the business guy.
Yes.
Right.
And as long as we have that symbiotic relationship, it runs really smoothly. Sometimes I miss a step, but luckily I have people that kind of help, cover those gaps, and
right.
And we communicate all that. Yeah, it's the big key is communication.
Right. Well, that's a good takeaway.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yes,
Did you have any other questions?
I don't. That's an interesting background. But it makes sense. Again,
we always talk about how, nonprofits, and most of them do, need to run like a business.
Mm-hmm.
It is a business.
No, and that's I was doing an interview with one of our nonprofit friends, and she was doing her thesis, and she was talking to me about how I lead. I said, you should lead with abundance, because I think a lot of the nonprofits lead with scarcity.
Yeah.
And when you lead with abundance, people want to be a part of it. You're not coming with your hand out. You're coming to the table with something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if people, and that's the way you do it in a for-profit.
Right.
I have this product. You really want it. Come get it.
Yeah.
And if you lead with abundance, I think people are going to levitate into it.
That's a great point.
That sure is. And by the way, it's not cheap.
It's not
what I have to sell. Because sometimes nonprofits undervalue that programming.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the biggest struggles that I had when I first came on. They were pricing their ticket sales so too low, and I was like, art it's intangible, and you have to set the value of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you value it that it's not worth something, then people are going to think it's not worth something.
Yeah.
If you value it at a point to where people consider it to be its value, then you're going to have more people. And we actually, once I bumped that price on the tickets, we actually saw an increase in but I also don't want to do it
where it's out of reach.
To where it's out of reach.
Yes.
Because, one of the things that we do is we set aside 20% of our tickets to go to other nonprofits or Title I schools.
That's nice.
Or anything like that, because I want the arts to be accessible by everyone.
Yeah.
And when you price it out, even I think there's a kind of a sweet spot to where you can put it to where your people consider it to be of value, and it's not too expensive. Of course, you're still going to be people like, I can't believe you got it for this price, but you can't please everybody.
No,
that's the truth.
No,
but I think it's going back to your abundance mindset. You don't want to undervalue yourself and seem cheap.
Yeah, no, and a lot of our programs have been born out of. So let me take it for instance. I got asked to come into Booker T. Washington to do a career day at elementary school. And I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I go in there and all these kids are like, oh my gosh, we wanted to be a dancer. We want to be musicians. We want to do this. And I'm like, oh, these kids, I feel really bad for them because they don't have an arts program close by here. And so I talked to the counselor and I said, you know what, I think I can probably handle about 20 scholarships for some of these kids. And she said, okay, I'll get the word out. And none of the kids showed up. I had a couple of kids call and say, oh, we really want to do this. How do we do this?
Yeah.
And I'll explain it to them. And I didn't quite think this through. Some of these kids didn't have a way to get to
the practices.
The practices.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how do I fix this? And so I was like, oh, we'll bring the classes to them. And so we started doing this program where we have after school dance classes in the schools for Title I schools. We don't charge anything for them. We just want to get them in there. And when we started doing that, one of the kids that was really excited about it, she just totally, she wasn't there anymore. And we were like, oh, what happened? It's just, well, we can't really talk about it. And it's like, okay, we're a little concerned. And later that summer, we get a call from Roy Moss saying, hey, we're talking to some of our kids here that really wanted to do dance because they really enjoyed this dance program they were in. And it come to find out it was that one girl.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we always kind of look at how we can do things. And so we didn't have funding at that time for that. But we had, some earned income that we kind of put towards it. And then since then we've
been able to
do you have a partnership with Roy Moss now?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not through the Roy Moss, but we did some camps for him. But I found funding from a foundation for it. But it's, that's kind of that abundance mindset.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because you started the program without
a little bit of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't going to strangle us in costs or anything like that. But
then a funder sees that this is
valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then they want to buy in.
And that's why I think as a director, you need to look at it as what opportunities are out there.
Right.
And how can we do that in a fashion until we get the funding for it, or or who do we go to for funding for this, and go from there.
I think a theme I'm hearing through all the leaders that we've been interviewing is it's that another part of the mindset is, here's a problem, how do I fix it?
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to figure out a way and just being really creative in how you solve a problem. That's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great story.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Who would have known oil it says mariachi.
is now leading an arts organization.
Yeah, it's for the longest time I used to always wear cowboy boots all the time. So that's just who I was. So,
you got proper shoes now.
Proper shoes now. Mariachi. No.
No more sticky notes. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today, and hope everyone enjoyed. I enjoyed it.
Yes, and thank you all. And we want to also thank Methodist Healthcare Ministries for supporting this podcast series. Until next time, I'm Scott.
I'm Mercedes.
We'll see you then.